Right, so to make your Christmas letters, you'll need several pieces of felt. I bought 3, but in the end I actually only needed 2. Also, of course, you'll need your lettering. I originally wanted Noel, but they all sold out of that, so in the end I got Ho Ho Ho, which it looks pretty good anyway, so I'm not too bothered. You'll also need some thread. I got quite thick thread, a needle obviously, and a pencil. You'll also need some glue. I forgot to add that in. I used you can use PVA glue, but I used, like, I don't know, some multi-purpose glue that was good for like different types of wood, so that was all good. Right, so you take your first piece of felt, take the barcode off obviously, because you know, you don't really want that on there. And then you trace around your letters basically with the pencil. Obviously I'm just going to rewind this, or like fast forward it even, because, you know, I'm thinking it's pretty boring, you know, watching me do this very slowly. Start at the top hand corner so you can get as much space out of your felt as you can. But yeah, so this is me going around my letters. You want to make sure that it looks okay after you print it off, because, like, there you go, I've just corrected it because I was a bit bumpy. I actually wasn't going to record this, and I was going to bring it out next week because I've got, as you can probably tell, I've actually got a cold, or I've got the flu. But I'm hanging in there, so that's probably why I sound dodgy. Right, now that's all that's done, you need to cut them out. I use these scissors, but I actually ended up swapping them later on because of the fact that they weren't really sharp enough. So make sure that the scissors you are using are sharp enough. Right, so I finished out cutting the first one. I skipped ahead because it took quite a while. Just make sure, you know, line it up with your letter. Make sure that you don't, you know, if you need to make any adjustments. I think I took some more felt off of the top. I'm not quite sure. But, you know, don't be too worried if you can still see a bit of wood, or if it's a bit too big, because, you know, just trim it up. And I said, like I said, don't worry too much, because obviously you'll be sewing it, and so, you know, it will still look good, so don't worry too much. Right, so you've gone and cut out all your letters, hopefully. I don't know what I'm doing, I'm faffing around or something. Oh, yes, the thread and needle. So you'll want to put your thread through your needle. I didn't originally cut any off because I thought, hey, I can do this without cutting it off, but that was a stupid idea, because obviously you need to cut it. So I ended up cutting it afterwards. But you want to make sure that you've knotted it at the end so it's secure. I'm just putting it through the first bit. I started in the corner, I thought that was better. Yeah, I found that thick thread can tangle easily, so you might want to, if you're using thick thread, just take your time, don't stress out too much. I mean, if you're using the thinner thread, then I don't think it'll be too much of a problem, but as I was using thicker thread, it got quite tangled up quite easily. But if you just take it slowly, take your time, then I wouldn't worry too much about it. Yeah, just make sure it's secure and everything, so that, you know, obviously when you are going to sew, that it doesn't come out or anything. Right, so this is just me finishing off the first letter. You know, just make sure that I wouldn't worry too much about the spacing, because you know, I tried to keep it all the same, but in the end it didn't, you know, I didn't end up keeping the same spacing. But you know what, it doesn't actually look that bad. It looks more homemade, and I think it gives that good effect. If you've got a sewing machine, it'll probably work out better, but I don't have a sewing machine, so I just did my by hand. It took a while, but I think it still looks good, so It depends what look you kind of want to go for. Right, so I've just cut the end off of that. I'm just tying it to the other end to make sure it's all secure. It took me quite a while because it was quite fiddly. Right, once you've tied it up, obviously cut the loose bits off because you don't want it to be too bumpy. So just stretch it out, make sure that it's all spaced out and everything. Make sure that you don't leak, your thread isn't loosely, it isn't bumpy or anything. But just if it seems tight where you're sewing it, just stretch it out. So that was the finished product, and I did all my other letters as well. I didn't film them because that was just going to take ages, but I think they look quite good. I'm quite happy with the way they turned out. So next you'll want to get your letters and your glue. This is the glue I use, multi-purpose glue. So it says that it can be used on different types of product, and it actually says on it as well that it can be used for different types of wood, though I think that's on the back, I'm not sure. So that's why I use this one. I'm just gluing it. I'm just putting some glue on the letter. You might also, depending on what glue you're using, you might want to test out with some of the spare, the fabric that you've cut off, to make sure that it doesn't come through or anything. Don't worry about putting too much glue on the letter because obviously you can add more if you haven't got enough. I'm just using a paintbrush for mine. You can use a bit of newspaper, or if you've got a glue stick, that's even better. But I just thought it'd be easier to use a paintbrush, because then I'll just even it out a bit more. Because obviously you don't want to build up a massive build up of glue because you don't want it to be bumpy or anything. And if you use a paintbrush, you just wash it afterwards and just put it in some hot water and get all the glue off, and then you can use it for anything else, like painting. So once you've done, you want to get your letter, you want to stick it on, just line it up, don't rush it or anything, take your time because you want it to look good. You can fiddle around with it and make sure it all fits and everything, but it should be good. If you've traced around letters and you trimmed it up, if there's any adjustments that you need to make, it should fit fairly good. Just press it down as well so that it sticks to the glue, I suppose. I wiped some excess glue off as well with my thumb, and I just rubbed it with heat so that it came off. You can use a baby white as well, but I couldn't be bothered really. And there you go. There's your letter. So as you can see, I've done the rest of my letters and I'm just finishing off the last one. If you need to trim off any more, just trim it off. So, and then just stretch it if need be. So yeah, this is optional, but you can decide to put a heavy box on your letters to seal the glue in more, to make sure that it's all secure. I use my sewing box because it's quite heavy, as you can see. But then that's it, your letters are done. So there you go, all your Christmas letters are now done, and I think mine look pretty awesome. I'm very pleased with how mine came out. I'm really sorry if I sound grumpy. I'm not grumpy, I'm actually really cheerful. I just probably sound it because I've got a cold and I'm ill and but yeah, if you like this video, please like it, and if you want to see more of my videos, you can subscribe to me. And if you've got any suggestions at all, please leave a comment below and I'll get back to you. Okay, thank you. Bye. Merry Christmas.